The Business Owner's Journey. I'm Nick Berry, and I've got real business owners telling their real stories, sharing their real lessons and strategies, so you don't have to figure it all out on your own. Happy 2026, and welcome to Season 3 of the Business Owner's Journey podcast. It promises to be the best and the most thought-provoking season yet. The goal of the show hasn't changed. The Business Owner's Journey has always been about shortening the learning curve for business owners, helping you to anticipate the challenges, which are plenty, that lie ahead of you. We want to learn from the people who've already been there. But my approach has evolved, and this season is going to be a little bit different. This season, we're going to go further upstream into how the best business owners are thinking, into their identities, and how do they think about themselves? How do they think about their standards? How do they think when the pressure's on? Not just talking about what they do, but how do they decide? How do they know where to focus? Because there's only one thing that your business cannot ever outgrow. It can outgrow its design. It can outgrow its infrastructure. It can outgrow people. It can outgrow the strategy, but it cannot ever outgrow your capability as a leader. Your ability to assess, diagnose, prioritize, strategize, problem solve, organize, and navigate the complexities and uncertainties that are too much for most, but that's your everyday. That ability is the ceiling for the business. You reach the limitations of that ability, the business is stuck. But your ability is not fixed in place. It can grow. That's why you've got to be in a constant state of growth and evolution. The journey of the business owner is a journey of transformation, and you've got to be constantly transforming yourself as a leader with intentions and with purpose of becoming the leader that the business that you envision having needs you to be. That's the job. Your leadership, that's the biggest lever in the business. And if the way you think doesn't evolve, then the business is eventually going to stall. Because doing what got you here and being what got you here is not going to be enough to get you where you want to go next. A major theme in Season 3 is about the shift from producer to leader, how to raise your ceiling, how you can evolve, how you think so the business can evolve too. Because growth and scaling, it's not just about doing more. Survival is about doing more. But now it's time for you to move beyond survival. So we're going to explore how the best owners are thinking. And more importantly, how are they thinking while they're actually building? Because you don't build a great business by accident. They didn't. You build it by becoming the person who's capable of building a great business. And becoming a person who can is a never-ending journey. Let me give you a little example of how this is showing up in my life. So every year, at the beginning of the year, I set intentions for the year. It's not resolutions, it's my intentions, how I want to be. And this year, everything is kind of centered around like my identity. And that's because after COVID, I realized I let some things drift, and not intentionally. I didn't realize it at the time, but my standards softened in some places that I shouldn't have. The way that I hold myself accountable, my expectations out of myself and out of other people, I let those things change. And it took me a lot of reflection, a lot more than I would have expected, for me to realize that that's what was off. I just became more flexible, where flexibility didn't really serve me or the goal, and some ways of thinking that just crept in that they're just not me. So I've gone through my reset process, and because I know what kind of environment I need to be in to do my best work, I know the ingredients that I need: high standards, clear accountability, relentless improvement. Those are the characteristics that are a big part of who I am. And so they have to be present in an environment for me to be at my best. So part of my intentions for this year are re-anchoring and strengthening those characteristics. Because here's what I know, personally and professionally: you can't build the next version of your business without becoming the next version of yourself. Season 3 opens with a friend of mine that I've known for a long time, Anthony Trucks. He's a former NFL player, entrepreneur, professional speaker. His company is called Dark Work, and that's what he calls the work that you do on your identity behind the scenes in the dark that determines what you're capable of when it counts. Because, as he says, you don't get outcomes beyond your identity ever. And he's the perfect guest. This is the perfect discussion to open up the season and this theme of shifting from the producer to the leader of a business. And the theme just keeps showing up again and again. I sit down with people like Dr. Benjamin Hardy. He's a co-founder of scaling.com. He's written several books with Dan Sullivan. He's also got several other bestsellers that he's written on his own, including The Science of Scaling. Jason Bernard is probably the most well-known authority in the world on brand SERPs and Google Knowledge Panels. Natasha Walden is a LinkedIn strategist who's helping founders turn their LinkedIn profiles into actual brand assets for themselves. Jason Pfeiffer, the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine, has had conversations with thousands of founders about these very things. Paul Austin Manier is the founder of Six Catalysts, and brand and marketing strategist Debbie Oster, who happens to be my former business partner and a co-founder. And the list goes on and on. But these are people who have built real businesses. They've navigated these real situations and real pressure. They've had to evolve themselves along the way. And I'm not having them come on here to have the conversations just to share playbooks. They're also sharing how they think. And they're willing to talk honestly about what it actually took for them to get here. So if you've got a business and you've got traction and maybe things feel just heavier than they should, or something feels like it's time for a change, or it's not working anymore, but you're not exactly sure what the issue is. Maybe the business is working, but it's only because you just are relentless and won't stop. Season 3 is for you. This is the conversation that you've been looking to have. This is the Business Owner's Journey podcast. I'm the host, Nick Berry. If you want a better business, you're going to need better thinking. So let's make that happen. Thank you so much for listening. If you found the show valuable, you can say thanks and show your support simply by taking a quick second to like, share, and comment on the show. You can also find more information about each of my guests, all of the resources from the show, and myself at nickberry.info/TBOJ.